Nicaraguan arms deals, stolen computer databases, weapons testing on local Cabazon Indian land, and a lawsuit alleging conspiracy from the highest federal officials for the past 30 years. Bad things seem to happen to those who get too close to uncovering Cabazon Arms and its dealings with the federal government.
All right, Dave, so for the next 2 nights, we're going to be investigating yet another true crime mystery.
Yes, we are.
This is going to be really interesting because it involves an investigative journalist who was found dead in his hotel room in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And by all appearances, it kind of looked like it was an open and shut suicide case. But then people started to question.
Yeah, and the people that were closest with him, his family, you know, it was not characteristic of him to want to do something to harm himself, especially with what he was working on.
And when people started looking further into it, there was more to this story than anyone could have ever imagined. He was actually investigating probably one of the most interesting international conspiracy theories that no one has ever heard of. And once they started looking into what he was actually trying to connect, it included various levels of global government, an international cabal of spies, as well as international drug cartels and United States politicians that the New York Times said was big enough to put Watergate to shame.
Yeah, this was some next level stuff.
And for the next 2 nights, we are going to be staying in the actual hotel room where this investigative journalist was found dead, and hopefully hear the story from him as to how the events transpired on that fateful night.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to actually communicate with him and figure out what happened, because they're still not sure, and people are still hesitant to talk about it to this day because of the level of what he was trying to uncover.
Yeah, the hotel's right off this exit here, so let's check in and go see this room for the first time and start our investigation into cold case hauntings, the mysterious death of Danny Casolaro.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Journalist Danny Casolaro investigated what he called the octopus and was found dead in his hotel room in 1991. His reporter notes disappeared. The book on the conspiracy he was to name Indio was never finished. Even the detective desperately asks, "Am I just another lamb to the slaughter?"
We have all of our equipment loaded up here on the cart, and we are standing in the hallway right in front of room 517 in the former Sheraton Hotel.
Yes, we are. I have such an uneasy feeling about walking into this room because this is the actual room that everything went down in.
Yeah.
So,
You think about it, August 1991, a housekeeper walks through this exact doorway, going in to clean the room, and finds journalist Danny Casolaro dead in the bathtub.
yeah.
And we're about to walk in here. Let's go in. Oh.
This is weird, man. This is strange.
I looked right into where the bathtub was.
Yeah. Yeah, and like we were saying on the way down here, this room is on the 5th floor, so none of the plumbing or anything like that could have been changed after this happened.
No. This is the bathroom. And this is probably not the bathtub, but this is where the bathtub was.
Yes, it is. Are you picking up on that? It's just
Yeah.
like such a weird, odd energy in here.
Yeah, because what happened to him? He had a whole binder, a whole case, an accordion case full of documents and notes of his work trying to connect these conspiracy theories to different government politicians and different crime rings and crime circles. When they found him, all of it was gone.
Yeah.
Still, it has never been seen to this day. All of those notes that he had with him, gone. What happened? What happened to you, Danny? You know, one of the things I remember reading about this particular case was that they said the only fingerprints they could find in this room were the fingerprints of Danny himself. And what's so creepy about that, and it was actually made clear by Theodore Schendel, who's a former Buffalo police officer who knew Danny Casolaro, spoke to him before he died. He said it was booked, it always had people in the rooms, and when housekeeping comes in here to clean, they don't wipe away fingerprints. He said this place had been wiped clean of fingerprints by the time the police made it here.
Yeah. Only one fingerprint.
Only one fingerprint found.
On the bottom of an ashtray.
Why?
I don't know.
All of it stinks. It stinks of mystery. It stinks of a cover-up, which is what his family, friends, and co-workers were saying. It stinks of a cover-up.
It does.
But
yes, it does.
We need to actually go in detail, in depth, into some of the stories, into some of the information that this case holds. So do you want to sit down, pull up some articles and read through them and see what interesting tidbits we can find about this case?
Yeah, let's get it started, man. Let's see what we can dig up here.
Let's do it. Okay. So, the first thing I think we really need to do is we really need to kind of buckle down and look into some information on Danny, the case, and dive a little bit into why they believe this was not actually a simple open and shut case of someone taking their own life.
Yeah, there's too much mystery around it.
And it delves into a lot because Danny Casolaro was self-employed at the time of his death. For years, he had been working for different publications, doing investigative journalism, but he was delving into a case that he called the Octopus,
right,
which was a far-stretching conspiracy theory that he believed involved many levels of not only the US government, but also a lot of different governments on a global scale, including banks. And some people believe that it was just a conspiracy theory that led nowhere, and that caused him to dive into a deep depression and that he took his own life. Other people believe that he may have gotten too close to the truth.
Found out a little too much, maybe.
Maybe. So this is actually an article from the New York Times. Reporter is buried amid questions over his pursuit of conspiracy idea. The article was written August 17th, 1991. A freelance writer who was found dead with his wrists slashed in a hotel room in Martinsburg, West Virginia a week ago was buried near here. I think here they're referring to Arlington, Virginia, because that's actually where Danny was buried, is Arlington, Virginia.
Yes.
The body of Joseph Daniel Casolaro, 44 years old, of Fairfax City, Virginia, was discovered by West Virginia authorities on Saturday in what was tentatively ruled a suicide. Mr. Casolaro's family and friends said that he had told them that he was going to Martinsburg to meet a source for the story he'd been working on for more than a year. Family members and associates have said that despite the views of the local authorities and findings of an autopsy, they strongly believe that Mr. Casolaro might have been slain because of what he had discovered. Mr. Casolaro had been investigating a case in which the owners of a computer software company called Inslaw have accused the Justice Department of stealing programs the company had designed to track criminal cases worldwide. So actually, this gets into a little bit about his brother here, because it says the case has been in the courts for nearly a decade, and Mr. Casolaro's brother, Dr. Anthony Casolaro of Arlington, Virginia, has told reporters he believed his brother may have been close to uncovering a major conspiracy in connection with the Inslaw case. He said in an interview today that his brother had told him in the last 2 months that if he died in an accident, don't believe it.
Oh, wow.
So he literally told his brother, if I die in an accident, don't believe it was an accident.
That's crazy.
And then he comes here to Martinsburg, West Virginia, to the Sheraton Hotel, to this hotel room.
This very room.
In the bathroom that is right here behind us. And they find him dead in that bathroom under mysterious circumstances. Dr. Casolaro said he was very skeptical his brother had taken his own life for several reasons, including the facts that his brother had recently received numerous death threats and that none of the notes on the case were found with his body. If this is a cut and dry, open and shut case of a man who was depressed with his work and took his own life, what happened to the rest of his work?
I don't know.
Elliot Richardson, a former United States Attorney General who now represents INSLAW in its suit against the Justice Department, said Mr. Casolaro's death should be subject to federal investigation led by someone of unquestioned integrity and independence. Former Attorney General of the United States of America says your death should be investigated.
Yeah.
There's definitely a chance your death should be investigated.
Yeah, definitely puts some questions into the air.
Mr. Richardson said today the significant thing about Danny's death is that he was seeking confirmation of what he believed he already knew. He said that if the informers Mr. Casolaro had already talked to were to be believed, it involved a conspiracy far worse than Watergate, one that involved various international banks, drugs, the persistence but unproven allegations that in 1980 some members of Ronald Reagan's presidential campaign team worked to delay the release of American hostages in Iran to damage President Jimmy Carter's re-election chances.
Wow. That's some big stuff right there.
Oh God!
What was that?
That light just fell over somehow. How the hell did that get... How the hell did that fall over?
I don't know. It's been sitting there for 5 minutes.
Hold on. Hold on. Oh, the hell. Getting B-roll shots and that light that's sitting behind the door just toppled over. And there's nobody in there. Hold on, this is uncut as you saw. Let me take this off of the slider here. I'm trying to do it quickly. You saw Dave just go in there.
Yeah. It's weird. It's been sitting there for several shots.
Danny? Granted, I know it was sitting in the bathtub. But like you said, you set it up so it would be sturdy.
Yeah.
It was...
It had been there for several minutes, so... I don't know. It sounded very violent.
It fell pretty hard.
That's very odd.
Yeah. That's what I thought. It was... It scared the hell out of me. It didn't break it, did it?
That I don't know. Let's see. Nope. But, yeah, I have no idea how that happened.
Well, Danny, if you didn't like us sitting that in the bathtub, we're sorry about that. That is kind of creepy because that is the bathtub where they found him. And you had it sitting in the bathtub.
Yes.
I mean, the legs were closed enough so it'd sit flat on the bottom, so I don't understand how it did that, but...
I don't either. That's... I really don't know. That's weird. I have no clue. Like, I'll try and set it back up how it was.
Okay, let me move out of the way here. Let's
sitting just how it was. Sitting perfectly in the bathtub. That's so weird. That came crashing down violently. I don't know, like, if you move it, it doesn't, I mean, it's stable. So,
That startled the shit out of me.
well, yeah. I mean, that was not expected in the least, so.
But I think it goes deeper than this, because this continues to talk a little bit about the various problems with the actual report. The article goes on to talk about how they didn't actually do a proper autopsy on his body before the family was even alerted to his death, and his body was already embalmed. And that brings up a whole slew of questions. Who paid for the embalming? Why was he embalmed so quickly before the family was even notified of his death?
Right.
Was there some sort of cover-up going on, or were they just following procedures? This is a Washington Post article right here, written on August 31st, 1991 by Kim Masters. This was international news. There were publications all over the United States, maybe even the world, that were talking about Danny Casolaro. What was that?
It sounded like a knock.
It sounded like something like is behind this conjoining door right here. That we're talking about Danny Casolaro. That we're talking about Danny Casolaro.
That was weird.
There's a conjoining room to this that we also rented for a couple of nights to keep the equipment and the gear and to have a separate room to sleep. 515, which is right on the other side of that door right there, and it sounded like someone was moving around in there.
It did. One of the things that I had brought up earlier, I wondered if maybe whomever did this to Danny stayed in that room over there and somehow made their way in here. Because nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows.
It would be the perfect place to actually make your entrance if you were trying to break into the room, or unless the person that actually carried out this heinous crime was let in voluntarily. That's also something we have to look into. Casolaro was here to meet a source about information.
Right.
He very well could have had someone to show up at his hotel room to give him this information, let them in willingly, and then had them attack him.
And depending on what level of people were coming after him, this was, back when this happened, these were like physical key rooms. They weren't key cards or anything like that. So it could have been someone that picked a lock to get in here.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been somebody that came in while he wasn't here and they just waited on him to go in the bathroom or something like that.
The next article that we are going to look into is from the Buffalo News. This is buffalonews.com. And part of the reason we wanted to read this is because it talks with someone in law enforcement that did not agree with the consensus that the police in Martinsburg came to.
Right.
And it's very interesting in regards to the death, because the cause of death, and this may be kind of graphic, so please, if you are not comfortable with hearing his cause of death, Danny was found in the bathtub with
What just happened?
I don't know. Cannot recover data. What the hell? That's never happened before, and we just literally just formatted this card.
Yeah.
We just lost all of that.
How?
I don't know. We still have the clip of us walking into the room, but that's all we have.
But the clip of us sitting here talking about his murder just randomly deleted itself.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna start rolling on this again.
Should we do a different memory card just in case we don't lose the walking in.
Yeah, probably. Let's do that. Is that one rolling back there again?
Yes.
I don't know how to explain that. We've had these cameras for
Years.
You know, we've used these camcorders as a secondary angle to our interviews for years. I've never seen it do that before. We literally filmed this entire segment of us going through the news articles, talking about what the octopus was and why people believe it could be important enough to cause someone to commit murder. And the camera was on, it was rolling, it was recording. And then we get to the part where we're talking about his actual death. And that camera just shuts off. It just reboots itself. It stops, shuts off, and reboots itself. And the clips are gone. It said the clip that was on, that we were recording, was corrupted.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
That's bizarre. And the clips that we filmed earlier today, coming into the room for the first time, are still on there.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that we just filmed about government conspiracy theories, that specific clip is gone.
Is gone. I mean, we can't, there's no way for us to say it's paranormal. It sounds crazy to say that that's paranormal.
Yeah.
But it's weird.
It is weird. And we'll have this angle behind us here to show you that nobody got up and turned it off or anything.
Nah. It just click, snap, off.
Yeah.
I don't know, we should put a new memory card in that though, so in case it does it again, we don't lose anything that we filmed earlier.
Yeah. And then I guess we'll just have to start this again.
We'll just, start from where we were. We'll just, use the two angles that we had, and we'll just start from where we were. Let me go get a new memory card.
I'm over this conspiracy stuff. That was weird.
And Schendel in his book actually wrote, Danny got too close to the truth. Which again, of course, Danny got too close to the truth. There may not have been a truth to find. We don't know. But it's definitely very interesting, fascinating, peculiar. Is the octopus real? Is there some sort of overarching government conspiracy theory that drove this man to search for answers to the point that he was taken out, that he was murdered?
I don't know. That's the reason we're here for a couple of nights. We're going to go and do some more research into this, dig a little bit deeper, head to a few of the places he frequented while he was here, and then we're going to come back at some point and try and communicate with Danny himself.
Yeah, and reading this stuff, reading about this overarching theory that he had about the octopus helps us get closer to being in his mindset, the confusion, the parts and pieces, putting it together. He was obsessed with this case. This is going to be a crazy series. I am really excited to get started. I think we should go and hit the ground running and start trying to get into the mind and get the information and details behind the case of what happened to Danny Casolaro.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, this is night one. This is abandonment. We are leaving the hotel room. This is the bathtub, of course, where Mr. Casolaro's life came to an end. Sir, we put a light in the back corner there if you're here in the bathroom. We don't know whether you're here or not, but if you are, it'll let us know that you're here. If you can see that. Rolling.
Rolling on this one. You did turn it on, right?
The camera?
The REM pod.
Yes.
Okay.
This is abandonment. 3 cameras set up in the room we're leaving. We're going to be going to our first place of interest, where actually the last place that Mr. Casolaro was seen alive. So, sir, there's a light in the bathroom. We don't know if you can see it or not in the bathtub. While we're gone, if you want to touch that, or if you want to walk in front of this door right here, this will play music if you walk in front of this door. Or you can touch this device on the bed right here too.
We're here to get some answers from you. We're going to be here for a couple of nights. We know nobody really wanted to listen to what you had to say, your conspiracies, if they were conspiracies or the truth. and we would like for you to come out and talk to us tonight.
We're here for you to tell us the truth, Dan. We're here to listen. So Dave and I are walking along the road here. We just left the hotel.
Yes, we are currently walking down to the former Pizza Hut. It's now closed down, where Danny spent some time while he was in the area here. One of the waitresses there was somebody that the police investigated.
And when they interviewed her, she actually said that he spent most of his time. Danny was known as a romantic, kind of like a hopeless romantic, and he actually was pining to her with F. Scott Fitzgerald's epitaphs.
Yes.
Written on napkins, and he was slipping it to her.
Yeah.
And she said that was the thing she remembered most about Danny. Seemed like he was in good spirits, not someone who would go back to the hotel room and take his own life.
Right.
Which leads a lot of people to believe that he didn't.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And I mean, the proximity here from the hotel to the actual former Pizza Hut is less than a football field.
Yeah,
So,
he literally walked over here.
probably the same sidewalk we're walking on here.
Yeah.
Back in room 517, everything seems quiet as our cameras and audio recorders roll. But 18 minutes after we left the hotel, the digital audio recorder picks up a strange interference that almost sounds like a man's voice speaking through the white noise. None of the other microphones in the room picked up this sound at all, leading us to believe it may be a partial electronic voice phenomenon, or something unexplained speaking through the recorder. It's too inaudible to know for sure, but in about 15 minutes we'll capture another that appears to be speaking more clearly.
All right, so we were walking up right here on the former Pizza Hut where Danny spent some time, again, like we said, while he was here.
And it's kind of weird because it looks like they just recently shut this place down.
Yeah, it does look like it was just very recently closed.
And they have all the windows actually papered up.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, you can kind of see in there, it's very limited, but
It's pretty interesting though, just to be here and to see this.
that doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's crazy to think that, he walked probably the same sidewalk that we did and crossed the same place we did and walked right up to that door right there and went in and spent a couple hours having some beer trying to pick up a waitress.
Yeah. There's a lot of testimony in this case that didn't seem to be taken into consideration. His mood, his demeanor, the night that he was here at the Pizza Hut, his friends and his family, what they knew of what he was doing and the death threats that were being sent to him prior to his trip here to Martinsburg. None of that was taken into consideration before the medical examiner put pen to paper and finalized his cause of death on the death certificate. So,
And that whole scenario was shady as well.
yeah, embalming him,
Yeah.
pretty interesting. So,
Well,
hopefully we're getting something on abandonment up there.
I hope so. Let's wrap this part up and we'll check back in with abandonment here.
Yeah, let's go.
Back in room 517, it's been about 28 minutes since we left. And more bizarre and unusual events are about to take place. With 9 hours of recording space and a stable power supply, the camera in the bathroom mysteriously stops recording. We conduct these abandonment sessions on almost every investigation, and this has never happened with this camera. But one of our other cameras also malfunctioned not long ago as we were researching this case. Danny was found in the bathtub with
what just happened? I don't know. Cannot recover data.
2 cameras, 2 separate occasions of unexplained malfunctions. What could be the cause? We have no idea. 23 minutes will pass before the next strange occurrence. And once again, it comes from the bathroom. And once again, the digital audio recorder picks up what sounds like a man attempting to speak to us. Though very brief, it's very sudden and startling. What do you think he's saying?
We're back.
All right, so we are getting ready to start the first night of investigating in room 517 at the former Sheraton, where Dan Casolaro was found dead in August of 1991.
Yes.
Now, we were reading an article from Ron Rosenbaum, and he was talking about all the different things that he enjoyed. He enjoyed raising horses, and he enjoyed poetry. He enjoyed music, musicians like Tom Waits, and that his favorite drink, his drink of choice, is a Budweiser.
Yes.
So what we'll do is go in there, crack open a cold one, sit down and talk, and hopefully he'll tell us what happened
I hope so, man.
that fateful night.
Let's do it.
Let's go in.
Switching to night shot. Shutting the door.
Mr. Casolaro, you probably saw us running around here for the past couple of hours. We're staying in the room tonight. Most people stay in this room just to stay in the room and have a place to sleep, but we're here specifically for you, my friend. I don't know if you knew this or not, but we have read some stories that some of your friends wrote about you, and we actually read that you enjoyed a Budweiser every now and again. So we brought you a Budweiser in hopes that you'll come out and sit down and tell us your story. Is that okay with you? What do you think? Should we crack open these beers? And I know one thing you were worried about was that the room was bugged. When you were here to meet with your informant, your source, in August of 91, you were afraid that the room was bugged so you wouldn't have conversations in here. Well, I can promise you 100%, Dan, we checked for wires. There's new management in the hotel. We promise you can talk to us. There's no bugs in this room. There's no wires, there's no microphones except for the ones that we are going to use to try and capture your voice.
It's your turn to tell your story. We're just here to help you do that. We have a couple of strange looking lights and devices around here that might look like some kind of a government rig or government setup or something like that, but these are ours. We brought them with us for you to communicate with us.
To let us know that you're here.
And you can just simply walk up to each one of them and try and touch it, and it'll let us know that you're here.
Or you can move them around and knock them down like you did the light that was in the bathroom a little bit ago. Oh, God!
What was that?
That light just fell over somehow. We've got some that are pretty easily knocked over if you are interested in that.
Danny, are you here with us? Dan, we are going to be here for a couple of nights, and we'd like to earn your trust and have you come out and talk to us. They told the world that you killed yourself right in there in the bathroom in the bathtub. Did you do that to yourself? What was that?
Sound like it was over by that door. Because if you didn't, this is your chance to set the record straight, Dan.
We know for your journalism, a lot of the time that you used a tape recorder to record your findings and things like that. Well, technology has progressed, and right here in Ryan's hand, that's what our tape recorders look like now. So if you could give us some answers into the tape recorder right here, that's another way we can communicate with you.
Tell you what, my friend, here's what we'll do. Recording. This is Danny Casolaro's room. We brought a tape recorder right there for you to talk to us as well. We got one that's new and one that you would remember. It's me. How about that, buddy? It's all yours, my friend. What's that?
I'm not sure.
Why don't you sit down there and have some suds, get yourself a brew.
You can sit right there on the edge of the bed and have a drink. Sit down and have a conversation with us. We're here on our own investigation to talk to you and see what kind of stories you had, because we're interested in that.
Let me try a little experiment here, Danny. There's a little box right here. Whoops. We got a little box right here that I'm going to set down right here on this desk.
I'm not going to sit here in this chair. I'm going to move out of the way so you have some space to use it once I set it up. But there's a lot of people believe that you can use this box to make your voice clear and present again. I'm going to go ahead and cut on this tape recorder so that it doesn't interfere. Thank you if you talk to that. Mr. Casolaro, they call this a spirit box. They say that you can use the sound of the white noise to make your voice come through for us to hear. Let me get this dialed in here, my friend. Okay. I think I finally got it. It's a little bit tougher to dial in because that's an analog spirit box. It's not as much of a turn it on and go as your other versions like the PSB7 or the S box. This one you have to try and dial it in until you hit that sweep rate that allows for the best possible results without interference.
Dan, come on up and have a seat here if you'd like, and try and have a talk to us through the radio. Have a beer, sit down and have a chat with us. Does that sound good?
Can you come through and say your name for us, please, so we know that you're here? Get as close as you can to that box and see if you can use it to talk.
That was creepy.
Someone went, what?
Yeah.
Who is this that we're talking to? Who's here with us right now?
Dan, are you trying to come through? Some of the staff have said that they've experienced your spirit in here. You know, you can use our energy to help you communicate if you need. What can we do to gain your trust? Say out or now?
I'm not sure. It was the same voice that said what?
Yeah.
We had a long time there where it was just static and white noise, so it's like it's weird that all of a sudden voices are coming through.
Yeah. Make it stop.
Please. I said make it stop, please.
Make what stop?
It's like it's weird that all of a sudden voices are coming through.
Yeah. Make it stop.
Please. I said make it stop, please. Danny, are you in trouble? Are you in pain? That kind of was like a punch right to the gut.
Yeah.
Like I said, make it stop, please. Are you okay? Do you need our...
What is it?
Sound like a little bit.
Are you okay?
Can you tell us where we are, Danny?
The F-bomb?
Sound like it said. Can you tell us where we are, Danny?
The F-bomb?
Sound like it said. Who were you waiting on?
Don't hurt. We're not here to hurt anybody. Honestly, we're here just to be friends.
We brought you a beer. We brought you a Budweiser, your favorite. I just got a static. Like a very strong movement of static just went right in front of me.
Really?
I know you're probably worried because the last time someone came in here, they meant to do you harm, but we don't.
Yeah. What did they do to you?
I wonder. Come with me.
Huh?
Said come with me.
Watch the REM pod.
Yep.
Hear that, Danny? You can make that go off too.
Dan?
Dan, we're gonna have some more questions for you tomorrow.
We just wanted to see if your voice would come through more clearly if we came into this room. Which we know is the room that you passed away. If you would rather us go back outside into the bedroom area, let us know by setting off one of these devices.
God.
Sorry. Let us know by setting off one of the devices, just like... Is that me?
Yeah, had to have been.
Yeah, there we go, it's down here. That was what I did. Okay. Let us know by setting off one of the devices in the other room. It's gone pretty quiet, but it was really weird because we caught a few voices that started to come through very clearly. Not only did it say the F-bomb, but It sounded like someone said, "Make it stop, please." That was very, very clear. We tried to press for more answers on what they needed to stop. We didn't get anything that we know of yet, so.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting session.
Yeah. A little bit slow, and then some voices started coming through, and then it kind of just stopped. But some very frantic voices that were coming through.
Very panicked.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe Dan will have more of an energy tomorrow, more of a presence tomorrow to come out and speak with us. So.
Yeah.
On the next episode of Cold Case Hauntings.
That's interesting. I think an interesting way to go about that would be for you to sit in the bathtub.
Okay.
With the headphones and spirit box on. Far from murder? Far from murder?
Yeah, we started this day off not knowing, really where we were going to go with this, and now we're just a few hours into it, and we are going to be interviewing the guy who cleaned up the room afterwards.
Now you're checking them out, huh?
When that mel meter went off in the bathtub, it jumped up to a 10.4 milligauss.
That's crazy.